What is up, my fellow Chibits? Today I'm here to bring all of you the weekly anime review of Gakkou Gurashi, episode 7. The episode had this sad and happy atmosphere about it, but that's usually how these episodes are. But in terms of what this episode was, I think majority of us can agree that the first half of this episode was pretty damn depressing, because from last week's episode, we found out, it became very obvious after that, like, there's no way you could deny it, Megane is dead. She is gone. She's an illusion made up by Yuki because she's insane. And to see how she acts in this episode, she's still having these flashes and trying to think Megane is here and trying to figure out any excuse to assume why Megane, like, wasn't in the back of the vehicle and things like that. It just makes it a very sad and depressing part of this episode, because you can't really deny it anymore. As a person, as us, as the viewer of the series, we can't deny how fucked up this situation is as a person or girl, whoever, looking at this person, Megane, and thinking that this person's there even though they're actually dead. Like, when we saw that scene at the door and you see the blood stain and stuff that showcased where Megane died, that scene was so ominous and sad, because it just goes to show you Megane is gone, and she's around and just made up as an illusion by a sad little girl that is a flickering light bulb. Now, besides that, one thing I want to say, I really like how the animators showcase the insanity scenes like they do throughout this series. Like, I mentioned it, I think, once before, but the way they shift back between, like, happy moments to these, like, very dark and depressing moments, like the Megane scene, for instance. Like, when you saw the scene to where the blood was on the door, and then you had to where Yuki was like, oh my god, like, you know, there you are, Megane, and she's, like, talking to Megane, and then all of a sudden you see it on the other side of the door, there's blood, and then it goes to a happy note, because, you know, that's what Yuki would see. I like how there's, like, shifts like that with the art and animation. It just really adds this different vibe to show you what Yuki sees every time she walks around. It's not just what we perceive and what we view when we watch, or, you know, what we see when we're watching the series, but we get to see from the perspective of Yuki and what she sees every day, and if you saw that, you most likely would want to see that only, which leads into the next discussion I want to talk about. So, after this episode, it seems like there's something that's really going on here that's starting to affect Yuki. She's starting to notice these inconsistencies in her memories. For instance, how Megane is suddenly there but not there. It seems like Yuki is starting to figure this out, which in turn is going to lead to where she most likely will have a revelation that she is fucking crazy. But there's one thing I noticed after watching this episode that stood out to me when I saw some of those scenes in this episode. It seems like Megane is the coping mechanism, as we know, but it seems like Yuki is kind of aware that she is kind of insane. It seems like she is aware of that, because if you think about it, the way she acted at the door scene, the way she was kind of just outright trying to deny any way possible how Megane is there but not there, like, you know, how she's like, Megane is here, right? She is here, right? It was like she was going any way possible how she could deny that she is dead. It seemed like Yuki is self-aware that she's not really there, but she's trying her hardest to deny it and living in an illusion willingly. And I felt like that's where it was trying to go with in the middle of this episode. And if that is true, that even just goes to show you even more how fucked up Yuki is if she is living this lie willingly. Like, sometimes you go crazy and you don't even realize you're crazy. That happens. But what if Yuki is willingly letting herself be crazy because she just doesn't want to accept what happened? Which, that is a very good possibility. Now, besides the sad moments of the episode, actually one more sad moment I want to get into. The opening song had a few little changes, and also the ending song, oh god, like when you see all the students just disappearing, that seems like some form of foreshadowing to whatever might happen in the future of this series. I hope that doesn't mean that everybody's gonna die, because that's what it looked like. Because if judging by the ending song of last week's episode with Megane of how she disappeared and stuff, and then you see this, I don't know. So, one thing I want to say right now, the happy moments of this episode, I will say, I like how it did that. I like how it had this, like, sad tone, and it went into the happy tone towards the end of the episode to trying to give our character some form of hope that's not just Yuki. As I already covered in the last week's episode review, Yuki is the bulb that keeps them all going, and if that bulb goes out, they're going down. And with the balloons at the end of this episode, it makes you assume that this is like a little light in the darkness that might give them some form of hope. That's what it looks like, because they made their letters, they threw their letters out, hoping that someone could find their letters, and then maybe one of them wants them to get rescued, and that most likely might happen. So if you think about it like that, that's like a shining little bit of hope that our characters are having right there after the aftermath of what has transpired in this school, in this, School Life Club. So tell me your thoughts. I mean, how do you all feel about this week's episode of Gakkou Gurashi? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please be safe. Chibi out.